Well, we can now speak to Peter Zalmayev, who's the director of the Eurasia Democracy Initiative. He's based in Kiev. Now, Peter, these HIMARS rockets, they inflicted considerable amount of damage. How are they making a difference on the battlefield for Ukraine?
Well, they're making a huge difference. Ever since the U.S. provided them to Ukraine, Ukraine has been able to stage successful attacks and liberate its territory, including, crucially, the city of Kherson. When it was liberated, it was largely due to the very effective use by Ukrainians of the HIMARS rockets to disable the Antonovsky Bridge, which was used to resupply Russian troops in and around Kherson. By disabling the bridge, Ukrainians cut off that supply, and elsewhere we're seeing the same. It's a miracle weapon for Ukrainians, and going forward, Ukrainians have argued that imagine what we would be able to achieve if you gave us a slightly modified version of the HIMARS rockets called ATACMS, which have a longer range of 300 kilometers, and using them, Ukrainians could disable those sites deep inside Russian territory, which are used to house those military launchers to continue to terrorize Ukrainians, including, as you know, on New Year's night, as many as 40 Shahid Iranian-made drones were launched against Ukraine, as well as missiles, etc. These have been relentless, and Ukraine is arguing that we need to be given the ability to strike military targets inside Russia.
Now, it's very rare for Russia to acknowledge that its soldiers have been killed in this manner. Why do you think they have made this acknowledgement now?
They wanted to own this narrative because something of this magnitude is very hard to find. And already before the Russian Ministry of Defense was able to react, the Telegram channels of Russian war correspondents began their witch hunt, the blame game, considering how poor these conscripts were housed. They were put in this vocational school with very thin partitions. They were not kept in the basement as they should have been. Their ammunition was stored in the same building, and 10 armored vehicles were standing outside the building inside in plain view while these conscripts were making New Year's calls using their cell phones to their relatives in Russia. So the ineptitude of this, the Russian army has been exposed, to all in plain view. It has been quite stunning, and so the Russian Ministry of Defense had no choice but to acknowledge this. And if you hear them saying that it was 63 conscripts who were dead, you can easily multiply it by 5-6 times to know the true figure.
Peter, thank you. Peter Zalmayev there.